Hello everyone and welcome back to the UPSC journey. My name is Babita Rani. You're the Hindu analysis faculty at UPSC journey. In today's session, we are going to cover the Hindu complete analysis for 8th of May 2026. This session is going to be very helpful for your all upcoming exams, especially for your UPSC exams regarding to your prelims and mains perspective. After the completion of this session, you can download the PDF from our Telegram channel, and the link is in the description box. So first of all, we start with the first article. First article talks about the appointment laws regarding Chief Election Commissioner and the other election commissioners. So this article is regarding appointment of Chief Election Commissioner and other election commissioners in India. First of all, we have to keep in mind that the appointment of Chief Election Commissioner and other election commissioner done by President, very important, that the President appoint Chief Election Commissioner and other election commissioners in India. Second thing, that we have one act which decide, like there's a proper act regarding which talk about Chief Election Commissioner and other election commissioners appointment, this condition of services and the term of office act of 2023. In this act, there was a clause in which CGI was replaced by the selection committee by Union Cabinet Minister. Like, we have to understand that what is whole context behind this news. So first of all, we talk about a constitution. In our constitution, article 3 to 4 talks about the superintendence, the direction and the control of elections in the Election Commission of India. Means Election Commission of India directly linked with superintendence, direction and control of elections in India. Now this article provides that President of India, very important, that President of India appoint Election Commissioner and Chief Election Commissioner in India. So one Chief Election Commissioner and two other election commissioners are appointed by President of India. So there was one case, Anup Baranwal versus Union of India case in 2023 judgment. In this judgment, very important, na? So note it down that in Anup Baranwal versus Union of India 2023 case judgment, the Supreme Court ruled that there was a ruling from Supreme Court that the appointment should be made by a 3-member committee. That the appointment of Chief Election Commissioner plus other election commissioner should be done by a 3-member committee. So this was judgment in Anup Baranwal case of the Union of India 2023 judgment. So first, in this 3-member committee, there should be a Prime Minister, first member. Then there should be a leader of opposition in Lok Sabha, and the third, the Chief Justice of India. So these 3 members should be in the 3-member committee. Means these 3 members should be in the 3-member committee that will decide or that will appoint the Chief Election Commissioner or other election commissioners in India. So this was a case in 2023 where Supreme Court gave its judgment about 3 members committee. Now, the Parliament, but we all know that Parliament has power to make laws, regulate the condition of services, the tenure and the appointment process for Chief Election Commissioner and other election commission. By this power, we know that Parliament has power to amend the laws regarding the condition of services for Chief Election Commissioner, their tenure, the appointment process. So on this basis, the government enacted this act that talk about Chief Election Commissioner and other election commissioners appointment, their service condition and the term of office 2023 act. So after this judgment, like after this case judgment, Supreme Court judgment, the Parliament enacted this act. Correct? So Parliament enacted this act after the Supreme Court judgment. Now, what this act did, the Parliament passed this law replacing the Chief Justice of India with Union Cabinet Minister nominated by Prime Minister. Now, what they done, that in previous case, like where Chief Justice of India should be member of 3-member committee. Now, this Chief Justice of India is replaced with this Union Minister and appointed by Prime Minister. So what they did in this, that Chief Justice of India replaced with Union Minister. Union Minister, and this recommended by PM. So this is whole context. By this, the government has replaced the Chief Justice of India with Union Cabinet Minister nominated by Prime Minister. Now with this, there is a strong critics that urge that restoring executive control over the appointment process. We know that if legislature or whether union cabinet involved in this, then there will be a majority of the government because one PM plus one union member. So they will always have a majority, and on this basis they can manipulate or they can change the process of appointment of Chief Justice of India and they can change. So on this basis, they can change the process or change the appointment process regarding to the appointment of Chief Election Commissioner and other election commissioners. So this is Act you should remember about other election commissioners and Chief Election Commissioner appointment, their service of tenure, 2000 Act. Now we know that there's Article 243 which talk about constitutional basis of the Election Commission in India. There's an act in 2023 which removed CGI and added cabinet minister, where in 2023 Supreme Court judgment introduced CGI in the selection process. So in 2023 CGI was included in the selection process by Supreme Court judgment, and after that the government did change in the act or bring an act which removed the CGI and added cabinet minister into the process. So this is whole context. So according to your prelims perspective, the things should be remembered that there should be a 3-member committee according to the Supreme Court judgment, which should include Prime Minister, Leader of Opposition, and the Chief Justice of India. Wait, let me just stop it. So correct. So from a prelims perspective, we should remember that there should be a 3-member committee body according to Supreme Court judgment, which include Prime Minister, Leader of Opposition, and one Chief Justice of India. So this is from according to the judgment of Supreme Court. But after that, there was an act enacted by Parliament that talks about Chief Election Commissioner and other election commissioner, their appointment, their condition of services, and the term of office 2023, which replaced CGI with Union Minister. And this Union Minister recommended by PM. So Article 243 talks about constitutional basis of Chief Election Commissioner, Chief Election Commission in India. Article 243 in 2023 judgment, Supreme Court introduced CGI in the selection process, where in 2023 the Parliament enacted one act which removed CGI from the process and added one union minister appointed by PM. So this is whole context about the appointment of Chief Election Commissioners in India and other election commissioners in India. Next article is regarding scope of legal fiction in party merger. As in today, in recent time, we have seen a news that 7 MPs from Aam Aadmi Party, like 7 members of Aam Aadmi Party, joined BJP. We all are aware of this news that Rajya Sabha chairman accepted the merger of 7 AAP MPs with BJP. Now, this is called merger. So we have to understand the difference between merger and a single person joining the party. If a single person joins another party, then there will be a disqualification and there will be a disqualification process against the person. But what if there's a merger? Then there are exceptions in the constitution. So this is all about merger of a original party into the new party. So why it is news? We all know that the chairman of Rajya Sabha accepted the merger of 7 Aam Aadmi Party MPs with BJP, which based on two-third of the resolution. Now, in Aam Aadmi Party, there are 10 MPs in Rajya Sabha. Out of this 10, 7 members joined BJP. And this 7 member joined BJP, and this process is known as merger. Means the party is merged with BJP party with majority of two-third. So this is whole context of merger. So first of all, in constitution, a merger referred to a situation where a political party merged with another political party with at least two-thirds of the members. Because if a single person join another party, then there will be a disqualification. Then the person will be disqualified under the 10th schedule of anti-defection law of 1985. But if there is a merger, means two-third members of the original party join another party, let's suppose, then this will be known as merger. If the original party merges with another party with two-third of the legislature party members, then there will be no disqualification. So this is whole context. Like if original party with two-third of its member majority merge with another party, then there will be no disqualification. The way forward is like why this merger is required and what are the basis for this. Way forward that there should be a judicial scrutiny, means there should be a proper judicial investigation on this. There should be proper judicial scrutiny. Legislature reforms should be there to ensure that this mergers reflect genuine ideological shift. Means if a party is shifting from an original party and joining some another party, then this should be on a genuine basis because of their ideological differences and not because of opportunity power play. So this is simple that if any party or any members join another party, then there should be majority, that is two-third majority should join the party, and after that there will be a no anti-defection. And so first we have to understand that anti-defection comes under 10th schedule. So in 10th schedule we have anti-defection law 1985, very important from exam point of view, and there should be two-third of the majority, and that's will call as a merger. Moving to the next article is, this article is regarding abortion laws. Like we know that in India we have abortion laws regarding medical termination of pregnancy Act of 1971. So now the Supreme Court is asking, like, should we amend the laws, abortion laws regarding the minor rape victims? Because the section 88 and 94 of the BNS Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita and the Medical Termination of Pregnancy Act of 1971 says that we have a limit. After this limit or after period of time, there is a limit on abortion. So now the Supreme Court is asking to amend this laws in case of minor rape victims. So first of all, we all know that Supreme Court is India directly called for further amendment to protect minors or rape survivors with beyond pregnancy of 24-week limits. Because we know that in India, currently we have a 24 weeks limit. Means a week limit, 24 week limit means a medical termination of pregnancy can be done before 24 weeks. This is the limit. But now the Supreme Court is saying to amend this limit for the protection of minors, for the rape victim survivors, and in the cases where pregnancy is harmful for the mother. So this is whole context. So at of now, we have two set of laws which regulate abortion in India. First is Section 88 to 94 of the BNS and the Medical Termination of Pregnancy Act of 1971. This Medical Termination of Pregnancy 1971 was the first law legalize abortion. This is first law in India, like this was the first law in India which legalized the abortion under specific condition. Means there can be termination of pregnancy but under two specific condition. So we are going to have that two specific condition, and that two specific condition is that first, if there is a fetal abnormality, if the baby is not formed or baby is not developed in a fully way, means there is a fetal abnormality, then the abortion can be done. Second, to save the life of the pregnant women, means there in the 1971 Act there was only two criteria under which there can be a termination of pregnancy. First was fetal abnormality, and to save the mother. So in the second there was save the mother. These two conditions, after this there can be an abortion according to 1971 Act. But there was two conditions in the 1971 Act. First condition, that for the termination of pregnancy which is up to 12 weeks, then there should be an opinion of one registered medical practitioner is required. Like if the pregnancy is up to 12 weeks only, then you require a one registered medical practitioner opinion in this. And if the pregnancy is between 12 to 20 weeks, the opinion of two registered medical practitioner is required. So very clear that for 12 weeks you need a opinion of one practitioner, and for 12 to 20 weeks pregnancy you need two practitioners appointment in a written, or two practitioners opinion in written. So this is whole context about 1971 Act of Medical Termination of Pregnancy. But now in 2021 Amendment Act, the government further extended the limit to the 24 weeks. As we know that according to 1971 Act, there is a limit of up to 20 weeks. But in 2021 Amendment, the government extended this limit to 24 weeks for certain category cases, like for the rape victims, for minors, or for differently abled women, with only two exceptions. Again, the same exception if there's a fetal abnormality or to save the life of the mother. Means the limit is extended for certain category of women's, like women's of rape survivor, minors, or differently abled women. Now the Supreme Court is saying that there should be a no limit. Means this 24 weeks limit should be removed in case of this minor victims or minor rape victims or differently abled women. Means there should be a no limit for rape survivor victims or for the minors. And now Supreme Court is saying to remove this 24 weeks limit. So this is whole context. But like the ground for termination can be risk to the life of the pregnant women. As we already know that if the life of a pregnant woman isn't to risk, then there can be termination of pregnancy. Injury to her physical and mental health. If that pregnancy is giving injury to her physical and mental health, then there can be termination. If there is a risk of serious physical and mental abnormalities in children if born, obviously if there is a fetal abnormality, and pregnancy resulting from the rape. Again, if a minor or a woman is a rape victim, then there should be no limit on the termination of pregnancy. So this is whole context. That now Supreme Court is asking to remove this limit of 24 weeks. So for your prelims perspective, you should remember that as of now, limit is 24 weeks. To terminate any pregnancy, time period is 24 up to 24 weeks. And the second thing, that for Termination of pregnancy up to 12 weeks, you require one registered medical practitioner advice or opinion. And for 12 to 20 weeks, this is again very important, that to terminate a pregnancy of a 12 to 20 weeks, there should be opinion of two registrars generals. One for 12 weeks and 12 to 20 weeks, there should be two registrar general opinion. Next, moving forward, we all have seen in news that there was a fire incident in East Delhi in Sahadra Nagar, where the records have found that this is not the first time where things have happened. There were previously cases also. So we need to learn from the incident that this incident should not occur in a recent or upcoming times. So why it is the news? The recent one is Shahadra East Delhi highlight the lack of sufficient attention of to planning of erection buildings, because we are creating buildings, we are creating infrastructure, but that infrastructure is not aligned with the, if there is any problem, if there is any situation, if like there is a situation like fire, earthquake, then there should be a proper measures and there should be proper planning for the, then there should be a proper planning for the handle the situation or to manage the emergency situation. Means there should be a security enhancing, as we know that in today we all know about security enhancing feature that turned out to be deadly, because electronic locks on the door that could not be opened, a terrace that was not easily accessible, means the terrace was not easily accessible, the door, electronic doors were not opened, and the metallic grills around the building include on the balconies would make it more difficult in this kind of emergency situation. So these are the whole things that make situation more worse in case of Shahadra East Delhi fire incident. So the reason behind is, first is institutional gap, because first we know that fire services are under municipal bodies. So very important that fire services comes under municipal body, and these are not recognized as a disaster management force and management act of 2005. We all know that we have one dedicated disaster management force under disaster management act of 2005. So there is a strong need to add the fire services into disaster management act of 2005 to have a quick action, to have a quick planning and execution at the in cases of emergency situation. First is this, because fire services are not included under disaster management act. If they are included into disaster management act, then there will be a more easy way to handle this kind of emergency situation. Second, we have an infrastructure deficit, that there's a shortage of fire stations. We know that we are creating infrastructure, but to maintain or to sustain that infrastructure, we need a proper fire station, we need equipments, but we are lacking with of outdated equipments, and poor maintenance is causing a infrastructure deficit. We have urban risk, because high base buildings, slums and congested market areas are more prone to such incidents. So important that high urban areas are more prone to the incidents like of fire and disasters. Second, we know that forest fires, climate change, rise in temperature and human negligence increase such kind of incidents very frequent. So reform needed, that first we need to reform, a legal reform should be there, that recognition to the fire services in under Disaster Management Act of 2005. Means fire services should be included into the Disaster Management Act of 2005, and there is an immediate need to update the Fire Service Act of 1940. So this is one thing that we need to reform. Second, there should be a urban town planning with strict enforcement of national building code. Means there should be a proper national building code, how the building should be made, how there should be and how this building should be designed. There should be proper safety measures, there should be mandatory fire audits of for the risk. Like there should be. Second, we should have a urban town planning with strict enforcement of national building codes, mandatory fire audits for the high risk buildings, and there should be early warning signals or early warning systems so that this kind of situation can be avoided in the future. So this is all about like how this incident have made us realize that we are moving toward technology, but this technology can be deadly if we are not having the this can be very deadly if we are not working according to the new technology, and we if we're not maintaining the proper balance between the infrastructure and the other facilities that deal with meeting institutional gaps, creating a forest, creating urban town planning, having legal reforms. So there should be a proper town planning that will help in the next future generation. Next article is regarding openness and not isolation. This article is regarding openness means a globalization and not isolation, means not about closed economy. So how this openness is a bedrock of the West. This whole article is regarding globalization, that how globalization is impacting the economies, how globalization is helping to have exchange of thoughts, have exchange of knowledge. So how this globalization is helping to connect the world and not the isolation. So globalization or openness is a bedrock of the West. How this openness is an advantage because this is helping to address many crucial problems, like as we've seen in the time of COVID, when the whole world came together, the world actually conquered the problem. So openness or globalization will help to solve many problems at a broader level, or all the communities, all the world can come to a single conclusion or single result. So first of all, we know that openness as a strategic asset. Western strength lies not only in the military alliance or economic scale, but it also in its ability to remain open. Means the West Asia or West, we know the Western countries' strength lies to remain open, to attract, to integrate, or to retain global talent. As we have seen during the COVID-19 pandemic, we understand that it's very necessary to have innovations and now operate through globally distributed production system. Means although we talk about innovation, we can also talk about a global talent, that there should be a global talent that all comes from openness. Geopolitical tension, this closeness or this isolation will impact it will create a geopolitical tension that will lead to the trade wars, sanctions, conflict, US-China rivalry, Russia, a disrupt supply chain, and there will be a market access issue. If there will be a complete isolation, then there will be a market access issue, and we will have a trade deficit, means heavy reliance on import. We all know that we are a import dependent country. So if there is isolation from the west side, then there will be a trade deficit in oils, electronics, gold, and that will directly strain to balance of payment in India. In the era of intensifying geopolitical competition, openness remains a critical strategic asset. Means in today's world, openness is a very critical strategic asset for the development for the long run point of view. It's very necessary to have alliance with the whole world. It's very necessary to have a openness, means to have a global perspective that will provide a competitiveness to the goods. Openness will provide advantage as in supply chain diversification, because if there is openness in the world, then there will be a supply chain diversification a single country or single part of the country, a single part of the world will not hold a supply chain. So there should be a supply chain diversification, and that will come only through openness or through globalization. Second, there should be like through openness, there will be a cultural integration. Means when the diverse culture, diverse societies adopt any culture, it helps to have a bring global changes at a very faster level. It helps to counter isolism. We prevent, and this isolation prevent stagnation. Means a stagnation is a situation where inflation is very high but growth is not. Means inflation is there, but there is no growth. So this openness also counter the problem of stagnation and loss of competitiveness. It also help in maintain the competitiveness in the market. If there is an open market, then there will be a competitiveness and it will protect that competitiveness, because if there is a closed economy, there will be no competitiveness in the market. So we also know that there is a talent attraction. Openness always draws skill migrants and boost innovation. So this is whole about that how a open economy is going to help, and how this open economy is a bedrock of the West and not the isolation, and how this isolation is going to hamper the trade, how this isolation is going to hamper the economy, how it going to impact in a social and cultural way. So this is whole context of this article, and how openness is helping to have more broader ideas and to help to handle the problems in a together or in a joint way. So this is all about today's articles. I hope you enjoyed all the articles. If you have any query concern, please let me know in the comment section. Thank you so much everyone.